I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible.
When you say you're going to do something, you do it.
I do solemnly swear
There is no starting or stopping, only doing.
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
You gotta protect it.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
In the name of democracy, let us all unite!
Well. Been a minute, hasn't it? Yes, it has. I have been busy doing the stuff. Been active, learning, doing more activism and getting out the vote type of shit. You know what I mean? So, a lot has happened in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, that I feel it's, I wanted to say something about it to all, like, fucking three of you that might still be here. First, I guess chronologically, with the Trump assassination attempt, that was a rough time. I was at the time, I was at like this weekend sort of retreat, seminar, conference kind of thing that was specifically built around developing nonviolent messaging, decreasing tension in messaging, that type of thing, you know. So when that happened, it was like, kind of had a rough go of it there, and had a rough night. Had to kind of take a little time to myself, recollect myself, and I took it in a good direction, I think. The following week, I had the chance to speak at a little press engagement. It was in Tucson, Arizona. So if you don't remember, in 2011, in January, there was a mass shooting there. I want to say it was 6 people were killed. 6 or 8. I'm really sorry, I can't remember the exact number, but a lot of people further were injured. It was including the then Representative Gabby Giffords, and a lot of people were there. The mayor of Tucson was there to speak. The county attorney was there. A former representative, now he's like gun violence activist, who he was injured in the shooting. And so there was a lot of great people there, you know, speaking out. And I got a chance to share a story of mine where there was an attack on a polling place when I was deployed to Afghanistan. And a lot of people were hurt. A lot of people were killed. And the idea of my little speech, which I'm not going to recite the whole thing, was like, this is what extremism does. This is extremism manifest. And I have never expected to witness that in my life. Regardless of how I feel about the man, I do not in any way, shape, or form want Trump to be hurt or killed for the sake of political gain or for anything. That's fucking ridiculous. That isn't how we do things. That's not how we do things in the United States. That shit is completely fucking unacceptable. So that, I think, is the paramount thing to highlight. I want to bring up, though, some of the stuff that I've been seeing and hearing online has been, and I know that's not a big sample size of the electorate or just America in general, but nonetheless, knowing that people are saying these kinds of things and that a lot of people are watching these things and agreeing with them, just the way that people are almost disappointed in saying, like, oh man, we almost had a civil war. We almost had the catalyst for another civil war. Oh, woe is us. I wish that had happened. Like, what the fuck is the matter with you? That is not how we do things. It's not how it's done. I don't care what you're. I don't know, man. Like, you're being made to think that things are happening that aren't, and further being incited to take action about those things. And I don't mean like getting out and canvassing or having fucking protests or rallies or something. You're being incited to go out and hurt people, kill people because of it. It's unacceptable. Goodness gracious. That was the bulk of the speech, I guess, or statement. Was the tagline that I gave it was ballots, not bullets. So I'm hopeful that might pick up ground somewhere, but I suppose that's been overshadowed a little bit. The RNC followed immediately after the assassination attempt, and JD Vance was selected as the vice presidential candidate for Mr. Trump. Now, JD Vance politically is a piece of trash. All right, he just is. It politically speaking, okay, that is not reason to hurt the man. It's not. Just important, I guess, to specify for whatever. Well, I guess that's what we're having to do now. But what is fun, I think, was that given the tumultuous time that followed the debate between Biden and Trump, a lot of pressure started mounting around Biden to withdraw from the presidential race. And that was a few weeks ago. And we've got the withdrawal formally on Sunday. Now, Biden has been isolating. He contracted COVID, so he's been at home. So he put out a formal statement on Sunday announcing his resignation from the campaign. He's going to finish his term as president, but he's no longer seeking re-election. So shortly thereafter, like within a matter of minutes, hit a statement that was formally endorsing Harris as his preference for the nomination. And within that day, throughout all of Sunday, I believe the count now is somewhere in the neighborhood of $80 million raised for the now Harris and question mark ticket. Now, there's been a lot of tension about this whole thing in the time leading up to it. A few of the political circles that I frequent, there were a lot of heated discussion about whether or not it's a right to try to pressure Biden to withdraw, or whether or not Harris is a viable candidate to win. All of these things, and all of the nuances that implies, right? And I have to follow up by adding that I did not have any preference, really. I did see merit to both arguments, or to both sides of the argument, but I didn't have strong feelings either way. Whether or not Biden should stay and all the rest of it. I didn't really have strong feelings about it. And it was really simple. And if you keep up with the boxing show Boxing B-Sides, you would know when it comes to fights, a lot of people have a tendency to score them themselves, right? Because, I don't know, they want to keep an accurate account of what they saw, what they thought happened. I stopped doing that a long time ago, and it applies. The rationale applies to this situation just as much. Simply put, no matter what I think, no matter how I feel about it, no matter who I want to be the candidate or the nominee, no, it doesn't matter. Nothing that I say or feel or think is going to change what President Biden decides to do. Nothing that I do is going to change Senator Schumer or former House Speaker Pelosi. It's not going to dissuade them from doing what they were doing. It's not going to change that. I cannot affect that outcome with my thoughts and words, screaming into the void, essentially, and getting all up in my own feelings about what they're doing, how I feel about what they're doing, it's not going to make a fucking difference. Regardless of how much, even if I was in Pelosi's ear or in Schumer's ear, it's not going to change what Biden decides to do. And even if I was in Biden's ear, it's probably not going to change. Even if he were to hear or read anything that I said about it or whatever, he's not gonna, that's not really going to influence his decision. Furthermore, now that the deed is done, President Biden has withdrawn from the presidential race and he's endorsed Kamala Harris. So now that has happened, nothing that I feel about it, doesn't matter how I feel about it. I can be as angry as I want at everybody that pressured Biden into withdrawing. It's not going to put Biden back into the race. It's not going to change the standing of the people who spoke to Biden and influenced him into making this decision. I cannot unring the bell. It's not going to change anything. Same thing, like that's the principle of why I stopped scoring fights for anything. Like, it doesn't matter. The judge, like, even if the judges are corrupt as fuck and they give you the worst possible scores ever, the most egregious example of blatant corruption, your scorecard is not going to change a single thing about it. How you feel about it is not going to change the result. What you can do is get to work. And that's what needs to happen now. That's what I want to say to a lot of people who are all up in their own feelings about, oh man, the establishment, they really fucked Biden on this. How dare they? Biden has been the most consequential president of modern times. Yeah, yes, he has been the most consequential president. I would be remiss to say he is not the best president that I've ever seen in my life. He has been the best, the most consequential, the most successful. He accomplished a lot. And it's unfortunate that he got pushed out, I guess, but you know, it's not entirely the reality of the concern of the concerns of his age, which is to say his actual cognitive faculties and his physical resilience and all that shit. It's not entirely about the reality of it. The reality, unfortunately, is not important. It doesn't matter. Rather, it is important, but it doesn't matter. And it sounds contradictory, but what does matter, what is important, is perception. That's it. Perception in this case is reality. It doesn't matter if Biden's sharp as a fucking, katana or something ridiculous, sharp as a razor blade. Doesn't matter, because enough people are perceiving him to be a bumbling old man that's like losing his marbles. That is not the case. It isn't. He's an old man, yeah, but he's still fucking pretty solid. He looks pretty on point. Outside of the debate and other places I've seen him, he's looked pretty solid. Unfortunately, though, enough people have the perception that he's like one bad fall away from death or something fucking ridiculous. It's, I think in the cryptid community, like werewolves, Bigfoot, that type of shit, it's called a tulpa, where if enough people believe it, it becomes real. So there you go. That's kind of what I think has happened with the Biden is an old man losing his shit. It's a tulpa. Is there some of truth to it? Yeah. Is it being overblown? Also, yeah. But it doesn't matter. Enough people believe it, and that's it. That's all it takes. And there's not a whole lot that we can say about it or know about it without him coming out and saying it, or Dr. Biden coming out and saying, like, this is what I see when I'm with my guy here. I don't know, man. I don't really know what else to tell you. If you're all up in your fucking feelings about Biden being pushed out, and you're Kamala Harris fucking doomer, like, this is the end of the world, we cannot possibly recover from this, like, we just handed Trump the election. There's one There's a very prescient question that somebody asked at the retreat thing that I was at. It was in November of 2016. I don't remember the exact date, but in November of 2016, when Trump was announced the winner of the presidency, could you honestly say that you did everything you could to prevent that? That's kind of where I'm at. It doesn't matter what I think or feel about President Biden being pulled out of the race and just finishing his term and riding off into the sunset in his fucking Corvette. It doesn't matter. The decision has been made. Nothing that I say could have prevented it. Nothing I can say will undo it. Nothing's going to change it. Nothing that I say is going to change that. I have now Vice President Harris is now the top of the ticket, and she's looking for her VP picks and whatever, man. That's all. I cannot change Biden and what he's doing. I cannot change the DNC putting Harris up to the top. I cannot change that fucking all of the people that were hopefuls as possible challengers if there was an open primary like it was being discussed. All of them said fuck that. They endorsed Harris. Okay? So, all I can really say is $80 million plus from small donors. All of it small-time donors. $80 million plus all of the potential, like all of the possible favorites or possible nominees, all of them endorsing her. Bro, I can't change. Nothing that I say is going to make her stop and say, you know what? I'm going to back up and we're going to put Joe back in front. Nothing that I say is going to make that happen. But in November, I am going to be able to say that I did everything I could to keep that piece of garbage out of the White House and to make President Harris a reality. That's all I can do. I can't decide if Biden's going to be the nominee or not. I can't. The shit's already done. I can't do anything about it. I have Vice President Harris as my nominee now. That's all I got. That's what I can affect, is doing everything I can to make sure that she gets the win. That's what I can do. If you're upset about Biden, you're upset about Vice President Harris, she's not enough to win, or whatever the fuck your feelings are, I have to tell you honestly, there is something more important going on right now. There's something more important than how you feel right now. All of this fucking talk about existential threat to democracy, a fucking threat to our Constitution, a threat to our governance and our way of life. All of that fucking talk, well, why the fuck are you giving up now? Why are you giving up now? You don't like Harris? Fine. I am curious to hear your reasons, but if you don't like her, you think that she's not enough to win, let's say she picks a super awesome VP for her running mate. Awesome. You still don't think it's enough? Well, is it that it's not enough, or are you just fucking giving up? You know what I mean? Look, all I can control is what I do to help get her elected, to help her win the election. That's what I can control. Even if she loses in November, I can say, and all of the fucking doomers, you can say, oh, see, I fucking told you she was gonna lose. And I can say, yeah, she did lose. Man, I busted my ass trying to get her across the line, though. What about you? Did you bust your ass trying to get her across the line, or did you just sit on your ass bitching? Just bitching. Biden's the only one that could have possibly won. God, how could they do this to him? He's so hard done by, and what a travesty and betrayal. And you can just sit there and rant and rave on Reddit or Twitter or wherever the fuck you want. That's not going to change what has happened, and it's not going to get, even if you don't like Harris, for whatever your reasons might be, you bitching and moaning about Biden being hard done by is not going to prevent Trump from being elected. So I don't know, man. What do you want to do? What side of the line are you going to be on? I already know what I'm going to do. And, man, like, I have my hang-ups about Harris. I'm not going to outline them here. If you want to talk to me directly, yeah, sure, we can talk about it. But I'm not going to really outline them right now. All I'm worried about is, what can I do? What can I do to make sure that even if it's not about Harris, even if you don't care about Harris, it's still about beating Trump at the ballot, beating Trump in the election. That is still paramount. That should still be your fucking war cry, is we are going to stop him at the ballot box. We are going to reject him in the election. We don't want your nonsense. So, yeah, that's end of that tirade, I guess. Man, I've been having that argument with some people. It's like, how, God, yes, you're upset. That's fine. Oh, let me feel my feelings. You know what? Let me tell you. RNC, the Republican Party, they're loving your doomerism. They're loving how fucking pessimistic you are and how just unwilling you are to do something, to act, because you want to pout for Biden. MAGA is they're already changing their messaging. They're already getting fucking boots on the ground to get the message out that Harris is unacceptable, according to them. They're already getting into motion. And you want to sit here and fucking cry? You want to have a little pity party about it? You know, we can do that after the fact. Okay? If you work your ass off and she doesn't get elected, you can say, I told you so. But what I will not tolerate is somebody who doesn't lift a fucking finger and then tries to point that finger and say, I told you so. You didn't do a single fucking thing, one way or the other. If you think that this is just handing the election to Trump, well then, I guess go ahead and resign yourself, a defeatist. Go sit on your ass and just fucking cry into your whatever, your snacks. Cry into that, because you're not. If you really think that Harris is just not that great, then maybe it's about time you get up off your ass and start working for the down ballot races that are in your area, because those are important too. This is about more than just Biden. This is about defeating the MAGA movement in general. And we need more than just the presidency to do that. Man, oh man. I think that's... I gotta stop. I don't know. I'm going to try to... I guess maybe I'll try to get some people on. I know some people who were the riding with Biden types, and that's, it's okay. Some of them have just said, like, I don't like this, but we have something more important to do right now, and that's to defeat Trump. Even if you don't like Harris, we have to defeat Trump regardless. So I don't know, man. I'm not sure how else to say it, how many more times to like try to smack some sense into you verbally, but there you have it. With the magic of editing, let's get some top lines here. Oh shit. Yeah, looks like the delegates have pledged to select Kamala Harris. So there you have it. That's all there is to it. She's the nominee. There's nothing more you can do about it. You cannot be... No amount of rage is going to change it. It's really not. If you're that upset, I'm sure maybe Joe Manchin would love to have you over at No Labels. Oh, shit. Iraq drawdown of U.S.-led forces. What the fuck is this? Oh, man, they want us out of the country from September 24 to September 25. That's the drawdown. It's no formal agreement yet, but it is agreed in principle. A while ago, I talked about some attacks in Iraq where certain like militia groups were attacking U.S. forces. They're Iran-backed political entities that have militant arms. So they're part of the Iraqi government. So these groups, this coalition of people, want us out of Iraq altogether. So this is just the culmination of what we talked about a few months ago, whenever the fuck that was. I don't remember, but yeah, I mean, it's come to a head. I guess they want, and it's not just us. There's 80 nations, about 2,500 from the U.S. that are the head of an 80-member coalition. I am not seeing what the full number is. But there you go. We're leaving Iraq, finally. I mean, the drawdown was a long time ago, but it seems like it's finally finishing. Bob Menendez, senator from New Jersey. The Senate Ethics Committee is preparing to expel him if he does not resign. Oh, he was convicted of corruption. If you recall, a while back, he was found with fucking like gold bars and almost cartoonish in like stacks of cash hidden in his coat pockets in his closet or whatever. But it's like the cartoonish gold bars and like a brown sack with a dollar sign on it. Oh man, the House has united to call on the head of the Secret Service to resign. Yeah, I agree completely. Like you have one fucking job, man. Secret Service. It isn't their only job, but it's like their sacred duty. You know what I mean? They investigate counterfeit financial crimes. So there's that too, I guess. Oh my goodness gracious. Wow. To the surprise of fucking no one, Israel is killing more people, innocent people. I think one that kind of had me stop keeping track for a little while is when they dropped 5 2,000-pound bombs. They're called JDAMs. Dropped 5 fucking JDAMs to kill one guy, and they ended up killing like 100 plus. It's unbelievable. How is this struggling for words here? There's this concept, I don't remember who it was, but it was some U.S. military dude, that for every innocent person you kill, you create somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 15 more insurgents or terrorists or fighters, whatever you want to call them. For every innocent person you kill, 5 to 15 more enemy combatants are created, are born of that death. So, I don't know, man. I've been saying it for ages. You're not going to bomb this out of existence. All these young boys, girls, even like that are watching this happen, they're going to grow up and they're going to remember. I wonder, do you think, from what I've seen of her speaking in public, Vice President Harris has been more open to the plight of the Palestinian people. So, that's might be a good thing. I don't know what she's going to do when if she gets the top job, you know what I mean? Because candidates make promises about all sorts of stuff. All right, just to mention them, I suppose. The VP hopefuls for, I know that's kind of meandering, but I'll just wrap up with this. Pete Buttigieg, U.S. Secretary of Transportation. Mayor Pete, now Secretary Pete, has been just, awesome. This guy's been fucking killing it. Roy Cooper, governor of North Carolina. I'm going to be honest, I don't know a lot about this man. Seems to be pretty well liked, strong approval ratings in his state, and that's a good thing considering it's North Carolina, so that's fun. Mark Kelly, senator of Arizona. I mean, I have my preferences for obvious reasons, but he's also just, I don't know, a really, pun intended, down-to-earth kind of guy. But, yeah. He's fighter pilot in the Navy, and he was an astronaut. What the fuck can you not like? He's also married to Gabby Giffords. She was shot in 2011, like I had mentioned up top. But, yeah. Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania. He was just elected but he's also a lawyer, like Harris. He was the AG for a while, so that's pretty cool. So something that I don't like, but it's an unfortunate reality that we have to accept, is that Harris, awesome as she is, Shapiro, awesome as he is, Shapiro's Jewish, and having a biracial black South Asian woman and then a Jewish dude, like, get the fuck out of here. That's not gonna fly. As much as that's a really shitty thing, it's a really shitty reality, but unfortunately that's what it is. Yeah. One thing about Kelly is if he did get the pick and Harris wins, then Governor Kate Hobbs gets to appoint a replacement to finish his term, which ends in 2026. So there you go. There's that. JB Pritzker, a senator from Illinois. What the fuck? I knew him as governor of Illinois. Man, apparently this dude is super, super wealthy. So it would be one of those, like, can finance his own fucking shebangs. He also, like all of these people have endorsed Harris for the presidential bid. The governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, was going to... The one that during COVID was the militia people, like the far-right extremists, fucking ultra-nationalists that were going to kidnap and murder her. Like, it wasn't just a matter of trying to kidnap her. They were going to kill her. That was the point because of the COVID lockdowns. But anyway, from what I know, that she's on the short list, but as if I recall correctly, she has already spoken up saying she does not want to do it. Didn't see any reasons, but, you know, what are you going to do? There you go. Those are the VP hopefuls. I didn't give you the time like I usually would. It is now 22:27 on Monday, July 22nd. By the time you have heard this, who knows, man, maybe, who knows? But that's going to do it. I will be back with you as soon as I can. I'm really going to try to have some candidates from the different races here in Arizona. Try to have a chance to sit down and talk with them for a bit. So a few things before I get out of here. There is a phone line. I want to hear your hot takes. 833-589-7637. Questions, comments, concerns about this episode. If I said something wrong and you want to and I need to correct it, by all means, text, call me. It's anonymous. Either way, if you are sufficiently funny or informative, I can cut your audio into the show. So call, go straight to voicemail. 833-LUX-PODS. Social media stuff, LVX Media Net on everything. If you cannot find it, we are not on it. Keep in mind that is a single brand account for all of the podcasts on Lux Media. So you'll see, I mentioned boxing up top. We do a lot of other stuff, so you'll see all of that shit as well. So that's something to keep in mind. If you want to check out those other shows, go to luxmediashows.com and have a look around there. I will get back with you when I get back with you. See you next time.